Hanson said you'd love this pose.
He said I love it? He's lying.
Well, you have had an amazing career working with some of the biggest names. Would you have any stories that really connected with you on a personal level?
Yeah, and I think that's important. A lot of people can be intimidated, working with these big artists. And for some reason, I've always been more of a ball buster, just right for the throat, right with the bad joke, right with the, and I think, and I think a lot of these people are actually a little shut off and lonely when they go into a public situation like this, because people don't usually treat them like this. They treat them like, oh my God, and I remember the time you were with them, oh God. And so I've just had a way of making some of these artists feel comfortable, which is the whole key for making music, right? You have to be comfortable and safe and to create an environment. That's the job of a producer, is to create a safe environment to make mistakes and try stuff and say, I hate that. And so, yeah, I remember, Ringo Starr. I remember the first time I met him, I was working with Phil Ramone. We were doing a Ringo Starr record, and I had gotten a track ready for Ringo, and he showed up at my office with Phil Ramone, and you kind of don't forget the first time Ringo walks into your office, and a very sweet guy. And so we worked for a while, and Phil's on the phone. He's just pacing, he's on the phone. And all of a sudden he comes over and he goes, I got to go to a meeting. I got to step out. I'm leaving you alone with Ringo. Now, don't ask him about the Beatles. I said, Phil, don't worry. I'm not going to ask him about the Beatles. Just go. Let's go. So he leaves. So we work. I'm at the computer, and I play it a couple times. What do you think? And it's kind of done. And I go, well, what do you think? I think it sounds great. What do you want to do now? And I said, I don't know. What do you want to do? He goes, you want to hear some good Beatles stories? And I'm like, yeah. So for the next 45 minutes, he got into the most amazing Beatles stories. Wow. Starting from, they would run out of the Hyatt Regency to the limo, and they'd get in the limo, it would speed away, and the first thing they do would be to empty their pockets of all the phone numbers and the joints and the, that all the fans had stuffed in their pockets. That would just, but these stories kept going on. And then it got deep, and I asked him what it's like now without John, and he started getting teared up, and I said, so let's take that to now, and you come out, you're solo, you walk out on stage, what's that feel like? And he just says, the amount of love is so overwhelming, and he starts really bawling. So I grab him and I hug him, he's crying. The door opens and Phil Ramone walks in, and I'm like, no, I didn't. I didn't. He started that, and Phil never believed me after. He never believed, and it was really Ringo that. Yeah. And I remember we were wearing these MC Hammer pants, these stretchy on the top but really baggy, Alibaba. They're the worst shit you could ever wear, but we were all wearing it, and it was really hot like it is now. And Ringo, it was about this time of year. It was September. And he goes, oh, I wish I had some of those pants. He says, I only bought me fall clothes. So the next weekend, I'm up in Malibu, went to the beach with my girlfriend. And on the way back, there's the van on the side of the road selling the beach pants. And I said to myself, the thing you don't say a lot, I think I'll stop and get Ringo some beach pants. Yeah. Right? So I try and pick out the right size for Ringo. I got like 5 pair of these things. So we go to the studio. Oh, and by the way, during the making of the record, somebody said, there's a photo store down a block away that's selling a limited edition Beatles print for $850 for this print, which now would probably be, I don't even know how much that would be. He said, you should go buy that thing. And it was a great piece of advice. I did buy it, and I put it in a tube, and I got one of those silver pens. I threw it in the trunk of my car. But there was just never a moment I could go, hey, Ringo, man, can I interrupt you? It just didn't feel right. So Monday comes, I walk into the session. It was at Westlake. How was your weekend? I said, oh, it was good, Ringo. It was good. I said, oh, I forgot. I got something for you. I ran to my car. I come back. I got you these. I gave him 5 pair of the beach pants. And he goes, you bought these for me? I said, yeah, you said you only had your fall clothes. It's such a nice, and he got like kind of choked up again and hugs me again. And he goes, if there's ever anything I can do for you, and I'm like, there's actually something you could do for me. What is it? I said, I got this thing I'd like you to sign. Absolutely, go get it. So I went and got this poster, and we went back in the lounge at Westlake, and we rolled it out. And it's the Love Me, it's their first session, the Love Me Do session. We put ashtrays on the corner of this rolled out thing, and Ringo looks down, and watching him look at that thing, that was the moment, And he looks down and he goes, do you mind if I tell you a story about this? And I go, fuck you, sign that thing. That's what I did.
So the lesson that I've learned from all of your stories is that the way to get on someone's good side is to give them pants.
Well, I'm not trying to get on their good side. Oh, get them pants. I see what you're saying.
Right?
There is a pants thing going on, isn't there? That's interesting. I got to get back to that. I've lost that touch.
Start giving people pants.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not a musician, so this isn't going to work on me.
Oh, okay. That's a joke. So what was I going to say with Ringo?
So you never heard that story then?
No, he told me. He told me the story. It was really detailed. It was their first session, and he goes, "Look at George," and George, you can see, he's looking sideways at the camera. He's got a black eye, and George had gotten in a fight the night before, and John's pissed off because this is their big day. So there's all this anger, and then Ringo's sitting completely sideways in front of the drums because he would have been blocking the camera. So they've got him sitting to the side. You would never sit like that. And there's a set of maracas and a tambourine on the floor tom, which you'd never set them there. And I go, what's the deal with those? And he goes, oh, just before they took the photo, the photographer came out and put those on the floor tom and said, this will make him look more intelligent. Because they had no idea who these guys were.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just priceless stuff,
Now, do you still have that poster?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's the only piece of art in my control room. That's right there, yeah. So, but those moments, like I said, it's very important if you're going to make music with somebody like that to get that level of trust and camaraderie. And he doesn't know who I am at the beginning of the project. I'm just some guy. I was never like a famous whatever, so that just gives you a bond. And the same thing happened with Julio Iglesias. I was a replacement for somebody that couldn't make the session, and I played this part, and it's supposed to end with where he breathes and everything. And my first takes are usually pretty good, and the producer said, it was David Foster, as a matter of fact. He goes, great, okay, let's do lunch. And Julio Iglesias' chair spins around. Is that the best you can do?
Oh.
And I'm looking at Foster, and I'm looking at Julio, and I'm like George Washington. I can't tell a lie when it comes to music. I can't do it. I go, no, I can do that way better. And Foster's just like, oh God. And so we did. We spent 4 takes, really trying to hone it, and I finally got it. Then when I lifted up my fingers, his breath came off, and then the next note came in, and it was so beautiful. And he goes, now we drink. Wow. He grabs me by the hand, and we're at a record plant, pulls me down the hallway, and we go in the second studio. He's got a kitchen set up of road cases, the kitchen with the whole ductwork, piping the exhaust smoke down the hallway.
Wow.
He goes, do you like the steak? I said, yeah. Maybe some asparagus? Yeah. What about some potatoes? Okay, make that for him. We'll be in the other lounge. So we go in the other lounge, and there's a road case there with wine. He pulls out this wine, pours a glass, and he goes, do you know much about wine? I said, well, not really. He goes, yeah, you will. So we drink, just this much out of a glass, and I'm flying. I'm sitting there, the buzz is so good. And all of a sudden he leans over and he goes, do you feel it? I said, yeah, I feel it. This is amazing. He goes, you can only get this buzz. Wine's $1,000 a bottle and over. So anyway, we sat there and we drank a bunch of wine and told our life stories to each other, for a couple hours and had so much fun together. And at the end,
You woke up in a dog bed?
she's good. She's good. And he was wearing my pants. See, he says, I found out that he had bought all the rest of this wine in the world that day, like $185,000 worth of this wine. And he opens the road case and he goes, do you have a girlfriend? I said, yeah. And he goes, go home and make a baby. So he gives me this wine, and I just shoved it on the shelf. This is great. Well, finally, I took it to a restaurant, and this was like a $3,000 bottle of wine that he gave me,
Wow.
And that was his way of saying thank you for, doing a good job. And he knows I could have walked out. Said, yeah, that was great. We're done. But the fact that I stayed there
Yeah.
to make it sound better, that, that rang with him. So, 81 Aubryon.
81 Aubryon. Well, there's no more of it left. He bought it all.
Yeah, and it's the only 100 on the Robert Parker book. And so Chris Lord-Alge came over to my house. He's looking at my wine collection. He's like, oh, this is cool. Where the fuck did you get this? I go, oh, Julio Iglesias gave it to me.
Yeah, no big deal.
He goes, do you have any idea how good this wine is? And, it's in my living room. It's not in a wine locker or anything like that. So for our 10th anniversary, we went to a restaurant, and I called ahead. I said, I need the sommelier, please. Got a special bottle of wine. And so we went to leave, and I got this bottle of, the $3,000 bottle of wine. Okay, where am I going to put this in the car? Do I seatbelt it in? And then I realized my mom had given me a wine cozy, the little puffy kind of.
Yeah.
And I shoved it in there. Okay, that's cool. So now we walk into the restaurant, and I said, yeah, I called ahead for the wine guy. Yeah, sir, I hear you called ahead and you have a special bottle of wine. I said, yeah, I do. And I hand it to him.
With the
And
wine
he looks
cozy
down,
on it.
and it says Michigan Wine Festival on it. He's like ready to kill me. So we go sit down, and he comes over and he goes, sits the bottle of wine down. What?
That means
Oh, I didn't know we're
wrap it
recording. This
up.
is not for, I know you're going to run out. He sets the bottle of wine down, and he pulls it out. This is what I do my job for. To open a bottle of wine like this is my greatest honor. I am here to serve you. And he gets the decanter and opens it and decants the wine, and swishes it and gets it and pours. It's skunked. The bottle was skunked from being in the heat. I was such an idiot.
Oh,
So, no baby.
no baby.
No baby.